application for scholarships next. And I'm going to invite Crystal Clemming, Reverend Crystal Clemming to come up, and David Coles.
If only I had the beautiful hair that Crystal Clemming. Crystal is unable to be here tonight, and so she has written. She has known many folks in ministry for various lengths of time, from many different denominations, and in myriad ways. And I am confident in saying the love David has for the church may be the deepest and the truest I've experienced. I first encountered David as a member of the placement and transition team when he petitioned for member and discernment status as he sought ordination in the UCC. David's love for the church and his desire to honor the many ways his understanding of God and God's love for all people have evolved over time led him to the United Church of Christ. Herein, he has found a more accurate and fulfilling expression of his call and ministry as ordained clergy, and an apt outlet for his quick wit and delightful sense of humor. At every step of the process toward ordination in the UCC, David has been led by his love for the church and his deep desire to care for and love all of her people, no matter who they are or where they are on life's journey. I am so grateful to have the opportunity to recognize David with this award because he has so beautifully embodied the mission of the United Churchmen and women. He is a lifelong learner who is constantly seeking opportunities to expand his knowledge and to grow in his faith. He is diligent in nurturing his faith and listening to God's call on his life. He lives God's love for the church and for all God's people. Though I cannot be with you in person tonight, David, I hope you know and feel my great respect and love for you and my delight to serve alongside you as a colleague in ministry. Congratulations and God's blessing on you and your ministry.
That's humbling to hear. But just yesterday when I was a teenager, I've always had my eye on ministry. There's no doubt about that. But about 15 years ago, I answered God's call to ministry. But just a hint, it was not in the United Church of Christ at the time. But as I grew into my ministry and I lived into it deeper, I realized that through a long, arduous journey that the United Church of Christ was my home, where I needed to be. And with that, since I had been ordained in another tradition and went through the Master of Divinity program, you know, the United Church of Christ still had classes for me to take. And that included history and polity and actually classes that feed my current ministry, which is being an intentional interim minister. And of course, on a part-time chaplain salary, that it stretched the budget a little bit. So this is a very welcome gift, and I thank the United Church men and women for this honor, this decision to present this to me. Your kindness is deeply appreciated. I am currently serving as an intentional interim minister, as a licensed minister at the moment for Hope United Church of Christ in Fremont, Wisconsin. I think by Sunday they'll be able to say I'm no longer a licensed minister, but I'll be an ordained minister, because this Sunday I am being ordained. You are all welcome to come if you like. It's at St. John United Church of Christ in New Holstein, just in your backyards. It's at 2:30. I know I'm bumping up against the Packer game. I apologize. But there will be a reception afterward, and I'd certainly be honored to have all of you there for me in celebration. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
That scholarship is the David Heckman Memorial Pastoral Care Grant. And next we have the Donald Lorfeld Seminary Scholarship Award. I'd like to invite Reverend Dr. Coley Batavia. Did I get that right? Batavia, thank you. To come up, as well as Mark Schmidt.
Thanks, Patrick. My name is Coley Batavia. I'm the pastor at Grace Congregational United Church of Christ in Two Rivers. And I have the honor of presenting a scholarship tonight to Mark Schmidt. Mark is a retired high school principal, and a handful of years ago, after retiring, he discerned a call to ministry, one that had been poking at him for quite some time. But it took a full career and then retirement before he lived it out. Currently, he is enrolled as a seminary student at Eden, and he serves in the same congregation as I do in two different roles. He's our seminary intern, and he's also our director of Christian education. Mark has been a member of the United Church of Christ for about 15 years, and the rest of his life before that, he was a Catholic. This brings now into his ministry a rich sense of tradition, of ecumenism, and of the importance of relationships. Mark is also a talented musician. Before he was a principal, he taught music and worked as a choir director. And in fact, in the early 80s, he played organ at First Reformed in Manitowoc, back when Art Willie was the pastor there. Now, in ministry, Mark is very much still a teacher. And he connects well with everybody from little tiny ones to grown-ups and teenagers and everything in between. Mark has a heart for justice, compassion for others, and a love for God. And in all of that, he shares also a lot of joy and laughter with the congregation and with me. And so it is my joy and my honor and my delight to present this scholarship tonight to my colleague, my friend, Mark Schmidt.
Thanks, Pastor Coley. I'm still back on wanting Crystal Clemmy's hair, so if you see her tonight. I am in my final year at Eden. My classes will end in just a few months in December. Second semester this year, I'll be doing the clinical pastoral education piece in Manitowoc and in Two Rivers. And then I graduate in May. So that's, thanks be to God. But one of the things I've realized, I'm taking a class right now on preaching, and one of the things I've realized as I've been preparing the sermon is that nothing happens unless you have the support of a community. It's just so powerful. Moses didn't wander the desert for 40 years by himself. He had a community with him. Jesus, although he was the minister, he had the disciples around him to support him. And we all have had families and churches and communities that support us. And I have that support at Eden. I have that support at Grace Church. I have that support in my family. I have that support in this place. So I'm just grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful to work with Pastor Coley, to have worked with Pastor Kim. And I thank you so much. And if you see Crystal coming around, just let me know. Okay? Thank you.
We have a second Donald Lorfeld Seminary Scholarship Award that Reverend Bill Kesting will be presenting to Bridget Hill.
It is very appropriate this night that we present these scholarships here at St. James, because Donald Lorfeld was a lifelong member here and a descendant of the original members, the charter members. David Heckman was also a member of this church and a descendant of some of the early founders. So it is extremely important that we do that here tonight. Very appropriate. And as part of the scholarship committee, when we look over things and so forth, concerning this young woman who is a licensed minister and who serves New Horizon United Church of Christ, which is in the town of Farmington, 2 hills over from Sheboygan County. I should know because I was there for 11 and a half years before I came here. Excuse me, Sheriff. Anyway, one thing about her scholarship application that jumped out at me, the question is, what is the vocational path the Spirit is currently leading you to? Her answer, and I quote, "The Spirit has led me to congregational ministry. I am a people person and am fulfilled by walking with my congregants through their journey. I also have a passion for faith formation and enjoy bringing creativity into Sunday school classes, children's time, and youth group." That jumped out at me because we need parish ministers. Currently a member of Emmanuel north of Lakeland University, and we're 3 years of being without a pastor. Thus, to Bridget Hill, I present the scholarship.
Probably many of you, I'm the daughter of a minister, and I am too. When you grow up in the household of a minister, you say, I'm never going to do that. And here I find myself doing that. I just want to say I thank you. It was funny as I walked in tonight, someone was saying how seminary cost like $230 for a semester back in 1970 or something when they started. And I just about hit the floor because that's the cost of maybe my books for a semester. But I really appreciate it because right now, I guess I see our world in crisis, not just with what's happening in Israel and Palestine, but throughout our United States and throughout many countries. And I felt a deep call, and I think it's a call for all of us who are clergy or going to be clergy and for the church to kind of get back out there and reignite. The world needs the church and needs clergy of all faiths to step up in this time of uncertainty. And so I really look forward to getting my ordination and my MDiv and becoming a part of that change. and to give people that fresh outlook again on who Jesus is, preaching the good news, preaching unity, and sharing God's love with each other. So thank you.
A further note, she is the volunteer chaplain of the Silver Creek Fire Department. Not the Silver Creek up by Manitowoc, the one down by Random Lake. I was a part of that group for 11 and a half years. They need her.
Next, we have our treasurer's report, Doug Charles. Invite you to come on up.
Good evening. It's nice to see so many faces from the last several years that I've been involved with the group. I don't know if you know, I live in Appleton, so I had a bit of a drive coming up here. When I was on Highway 42, I noticed a couple of chickens out in the yard. And it reminded me of the story of these two chickens that were sitting on the side of the road. I can light this up a little bit. And they were debating whether they could drop an egg in the middle of the road and not get killed. And they were talking back and forth, and one said, I think you can do it. And I don't think you can do it. And one guy said, I'm so sure. The other chicken said, well, let's ask the big hen that we have over here. So they turned to him and they said, what do you think? Can we drop an egg in the middle of the road and not get killed? And he says, well, if you do it fast and drop it on a line. That's it. So I'm here to do it fast and drop it on the line. I know it's getting late, but... So I just want to say thank you to all of you. Last year we took in $7,700 in this small group that we get together once or twice a year, not a month, but a year we get together. And the churches that are represented here are very generous. They give us a lot of money. We have this banquet and hand out a bunch of scholarships. And there are several people over the years now that have done very well and that we've helped out, and we're very grateful for that. This year, we did $8,100, so we did even better than we did last year. All the money that you donate, 100% goes towards our scholarships that we wrote. So I just want to say thank you for laying it on the line and doing it fast.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you. Gerald Gum, I'd like to invite you to come up as you share with us the recognition of active and retired clergy.
Thank you, Pastor Patrick. I'd like to just say a few words about Lisa's presentation, because I'm a member of Ebenezer United Church of Christ. I refer to Ebenezer as my faith family. I was talking to somebody last week from another congregation who asked if I would consider leaving Ebenezer and coming and joining their church, and I said, no, because I'm very committed at Ebenezer in many ways, and that is my family, and I don't plan on leaving it. Ebenezer is a wise congregation, and I want to tell you that I'm a personal friend of Sue Kaiser's, and she's actually going to be leading worship with another person from a wise team on Sunday, because Reverend Lori is in Nashville, Tennessee. But when Lisa says it's a process, it is a process. And when people ask me what the value is that I have recognized at Ebenezer, I'll make it very simple.
Being a wise congregation gives people the permission to ask for help, the permission to just listen, you know. It's not rocket science, really, because you'd be surprised how many people come up to me after a worship service. They know I'm a part of the WISE team. I had a conversation with one of our members after church on Sunday. Church got out at 11 o'clock. I left church at 5 minutes to 12. It's all about listening. And when people know that you have permission to have that conversation and that there are people in the congregation who are willing to listen. And then I'll leave you just with this quick thought about WISE. Sue Kaiser is a real firecracker, isn't she? She's a born leader. She's enthusiastic. And Sue has said to the WISE team, and I think we're about 12 strong now, and she said, you know, we are not the team now. Now the team is the whole congregation. And so if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, you're part of the team, and say, yeah, I'm a part of the team, so are you. Again, you're giving them permission, okay? So that's what it's about. I have a distinct privilege to take this opportunity to honor all of our active clergy present with us tonight. Now, I did not have a list of names of who was going to be here, so if I miss anybody, please tell me, okay? The Reverend Dr. Coley Batavia from Grace Congregational in Two Rivers. The Reverend Diane Camber from Bethel in Ada. The Reverend Judine Derwachter from St. John's UCC in Sheboygan. The Reverend Nicole Herda from St. Peter's in Kiel. The Reverend Crystal Clemme, who is here in spirit